might know how to read these words on sight, but you might not know why they're spelled the way they are. And when you do, after I explain it, then you can apply those same reading patterns to read other words that you might not know how to read by sight. All right, let me share my screen. Okay. Our first word is this. Here's what's going on. We have a UR that says UR says This I and this I are in the middle syllable. So is this one. We're going to talk about that in a minute. I in the middle syllable gets to say its short sound, even if there are not two consonants after it. Both of these do happen to have two consonants after it, so they say I for two reasons, because of the tap two rule and because of the confident rule. So these two I's say I. C, it makes its hard sound almost always, unless the next letter is an E, I, or Y. TI says shh when it's toward the end of a longer word and there's a vowel after it. TI says shh when it's toward the end of a longer word and there's a vowel after it. O says the schwa sound when it's toward the end of a longer word and there's a consonant after it. Now that was a lot of reading patterns, and if you're just trying to take notes furiously and fast and furious, bless you. You don't have to do that. Every single thing that I just said, this has its own 30-minute lesson. This has its own 30-minute lesson. This and this and this, they all have their own 30-minute lesson where we do a deep dive. All year long, we've been learning all of this. If you're just brand new, then just learn it for the first time with me today and moving forward, and then it will become recognizable if you stay with me. When we go to do the deep dive, you'll be, oh yeah, I remember that, I know that, and it will sound more familiar. So for now, just hang on. So our sounds j, I, s, d, I, k, sh, n. Go ahead and try to read that. All right, we have jurisdiction. 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 Did you get that one without me? Please let me know a Y for yes or an A for almost. Jurisdiction. Nice. Beautiful. That's wonderful, Mohammed. All right, next, moving on. We have let's understand this word. Let me move my Q&A here. So this OI says oi. There are two graphemes that can say oi. OI and OY. This is for the beginning and middle. This is for the end. Beginning as in oil, middle as in boil, end as in boy. OI beginning and middle, OY is for the end. So here's oi in the middle of a word. Here's an ER that also says Just like the last word, we have IR, UR, ER. They all just say And then here's an OUS suffix. OUS says us. You don't hear the O. Short U. So go ahead and read this word. So we have B, oi, s, boisterous, boisterous, boisterous. You might not have had a chance to encounter that word in print as often as you would have heard it. And this middle part would have probably been a little messy when you hear it, so it might have been the letters when you hear it might not. Maybe I should just start over. Sometimes when we speak, we don't articulate each sound as they were intended. So when you see a word and you see how those sounds are meant to be pronounced, then you go, oh, that's how you spell that word, or that's how you say that word. Boisterous. Would you let me know a Y or an A, how you did on boisterous without me? April, why can't I hear the K sound in jurisdiction after the second letter I? It's because it's kind of a stop sound before that shun. It's not a hard k like cat or cow. It's more of a stop. Jurisdiction. You just stop. You don't really spit out that C sound. So that's why it's really hard to hear. But didn't it help to be able to see it there? Then you can kind of find the hints of it when you're speaking. Oh yeah, it is just kind of, my tongue just stops the air right there, and instead of spitting it out, it just kind of stops it. Jurisdiction. Spit it out just a tiny little bit. How about I-O or I-E, how you say it? I-O, it depends on the word. It's probably going to, I-O is a little bit complicated. I-E also has several different pronunciations. It depends on the word. Sorry about that. Okay, Fatima, good. All right, so what is this first word right here? Jurisdiction. And then what is this word? Boisterous. Moving on. Boisterous. Okay, how about this one? So we have a Greek word here. We can tell because there is a medial Y, a Y in the middle of a word. When you have a medial Y, you have to treat it as an I. So if this was an I, then we have an IR. An IR says So if this Y is technically an I in English, then this IR would say Wait. Rats. It doesn't in this word. Let me think of a word where what I just explained is the rule. Can't think of one right now. Rats. This one is a little bit of a rule breaker. In this word, it does act as an I. However, it's going to sound like a short I. So it's just a rule breaker word. This I does follow the rule. When I comes toward the end of a multisyllable word and there's a vowel after it, it sounds like a long E. So when I comes toward the end of a multisyllable word and there's a vowel after it, it sounds like a long E. When A comes toward the end of a multisyllable word and there's a consonant after it, it sounds like an sounds like a schwa. So this I is going to break the rule and sound like I. It might even sound a little bit like a long E. This one's a little hazy for me, you guys. And then this I is going to say E, and this A is going to say Do you know what it is? So we have I or E. I'm not even quite sure. E, D. So we have myriad. Myriad. Isn't it kind of hard to tell if it's a short I or a long E sound right there? Is it myriad or myriad? Myriad or myriad? They're so subtle. That difference is such a subtle difference, especially with that R right after it. I'm going to have to do some research on that one. Myriad. Did you get myriad even after I Loused that one up just a little bit. Myriad. You probably already knew what it was. Well, hopefully you got it now. I'm not quite sure if it's myriad or myriad. I'll have to look up the pronunciation guide on this word, but those sounds are so subtle that either one of them is going to probably be correct or close to correct. Myriad. Myriad. I wonder what it is. If I had time, I'd look it up, but I don't want to waste your time. But I'll come back next time and tell you. Next. All right. So here we have an ER that says So we have that ER, IR, UR that all say right? OR, as you learned at the beginning during our phonemic awareness warm-up, can also say just sounds like a ER when it's unstressed, and it's unstressed when it comes at the end. Fervor, this first syllable is accented. Fervor. So this is an unaccented or unstressed syllable. And when OR comes at the end of a word like that, it is usually unstressed, and unstressed OR sounds like an R. It just sounds like So what would this word say then? 4 sounds. Fervor. Fervor, like a lot of passion, a lot of fervor, right? Fervor, that's a fun word. I'm going to use that one. All right, what is this first word down here? And in this one, so we have jurisdiction, and in this one, boisterous. How about this one? Myriad, and this one. Fervor, fervor. Did you get fervor without me? Y or A? Nice, Fatima. Did I say it, Julie? I already said it. I just talked with chat and it makes, thank you, Taryn. And it says the Y makes a hard E. Okay. So for myriad, it's going to make that long E sound. Thank you, Taryn. Myriad, that Y makes the long E sound. I said it 3 times. Did I really? I had no clue that I was giving you the answer the whole time. No wonder I have so many Y's in the chat there. All right, let's try this one. We have another Greek word. All right, so we have a silent letter pair. PS is a silent letter pair where you don't hear the P, you only hear the S. So that gets 1 sound. Here's another example. Psalm, like the Psalms that are in the Bible, or psychiatrist. You don't hear the, I spelled that wrong. You don't hear the P, only the S. So we have a silent letter pair right here. Here we have a Greek word. We can see that medial Y. It's acting as an I. This one is going to make a long I sound. We're going to treat this as 1 unit, so it can technically follow the tap 2 rule because this O is going to be its next partner vowel. This Y is going to make the long I sound. This CH is going to say K because it's a Greek word. You can spot it was a Greek word because it had that Y in the middle. So you know that that CH is going to say K. This O follows the tap 2 rule. It's going to say O because there's another vowel 1 or 2 doors down. This is a prefix with a base word. This is a prefix. This is the base word. So I'm going to put this on the shelf for now. You already knew what it was anyway. And I'm going to look at this right here. You probably know what this word is also. But when you have an A that's at the beginning of a word and there's another vowel 2 doors down, that A is going to make the schwa sound and say This A follows the tap 2 rule. It's going to say This Y, this medial Y, it's going to sound like it's going to act as an I. And it's going to follow the confident rule. It's in the middle, so it gets to say regardless. This I is going to follow the tap 2 rule and say All right, so let's go ahead and pencil read this word. If you don't know or already know what it is, go for it. Okay, I'll give you another second because that's a long one. So if we have silent letter pairs here, I, K, O, N, A, O, I, S, I, S. When you put those sounds together, you have psychoanalysis. 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 Did you get that one, Y or A? Of course you did, Blair. Of course you did. Psychoanalysis. I bet you got close if you put an A in there. About half. It's about half and half, Y and A. I probably should have given you more time on that one. You might have gotten closer if I gave you more time. So you probably could have done it. Go ahead and read this top word up here. Jurisdiction. Then this one. Boisterous. Then we have a long E sound for that Y. Myriad. Fervor and psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis. All right, I'm going to give you a little bit more time on this next one just to make sure everybody has plenty of time to do this on their own and get it without me. We have, let me see if I want this one. Yeah. This one has something fun that we could talk about. What? We are out of time. I don't care. I'm going to do this one anyway. Okay. What do we need to know? Wait a minute. Is this reading? This is reading. Oh, I was doing spelling class for a minute. So this E is going to follow the tap 2 rule. This E is going to follow the tap 2 rule. This EA is a unit that's going to say E. It's a vowel team. And here's an example of that OR that comes at the end of a word, so it's going to sound like An unstressed OR says and it's unstressed if it's at the end of a multisyllable word. So try to read this word. The A's confused me. Yeah, those A's. A's are the hardest vowel because there's so many different patterns that they follow. Why is it getting harder for both my classes? Am I behind? You're never behind. You're just in a learning cycle. Some classes are just harder than others. Some classes you're going to be like, oh, that's a piece of cake. Some classes are going to be, oh, I didn't get one thing. That's just because of the randomness of the words that we're doing. So we have D, E, M, E, N, Demeanor. Demeanor. How did you do on that one? Y or A? Demeanor. Mohammed, EA is a grapheme that makes 4 different sounds, but its most common sound is E as in demeanor. Demeanor. Nice, everybody. Look at all those Y's. Gorgeous. I had to go back and listen to an older class. I love that you did that. Is there something I can do to practice on my I and E? Oh, the pronunciation? Is that what you mean, Danielle, or Catherine? The pronunciation of the I and E? Because those are so subtle. The differences are so subtle, and it's so hard for so many people to hear the difference between that I and E for spelling and for reading. You just have to focus on the mouth shape. The E sound is, your jaw is going to be dropped a little bit. Eh, eh. The I sound is going to be long, wide, and narrow. I, eh, I. And think of words, say a lot of words that start with only that sound. For the E, elephant, example, excellent, enterprise, exit, elbow, and then just say that first sound until you can hear the difference a little better. For the I, inside, igloo, impossible, industrious. Just keep saying words that start with that sound, I. Then you'll be able to hear it a little bit better and then focus on that mouth shape, I and eh. I don't know how things are falling into place, but they are. Yay! I love, you're like, I don't know how it's working, but it's working. I love that. All right, you guys are amazing. Thanks for being here. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye, everybody.